Welcome back to another evening in the Stormcave, where stories live and breathe, and where family memories centered around sharing those stories together are cherished. I'm your host, Grant Walker, and I'm here with my co host, Jenelle Schmidt. Janelle, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. We've had a pretty busy week here already, and it's only Wednesday.
Springtime
So
is very hectic for sure.
it
Well, hey,
is.
we have got something really exciting. Janelle, I want you to introduce our guests because one, we've got guests, which we love. But number two, this episode is episode number 10. So we're going to do something a little special. And we're going to have a really cool presentation that this show is hopefully going to build up to. And the purpose of this show is to kind of share the heart behind this beautiful song that Brittany has crafted. But you probably want to know who Brittany is. So, Janelle, go ahead and introduce our guests.
So we've got our whole family here. Some of you have been listening faithfully and you've heard us talk about all of these people, but we have our brother Evan with us. Evan, can wave. We've got our dad and our mom with us. You guys want to give a wave? And we've got our youngest sister, Brittany, with us. And we are very excited about just introducing you to our family and to one of our favorite things of all time.
Yeah, so we've talked a little bit about this in the last couple of episodes, but we grew up with stories just being a very large part of our lives and enjoying those stories through various mediums. A lot of movies, stories, books. We would read a lot. We were homeschooled, and so reading was a big part of our curriculum that mom set out for us. We would listen to Adventures in Odyssey on the radio. So we loved stories. And so a lot of this show is about sharing our love for the stories that we've come across. But as our lives progressed, I think just naturally was built within us that not only it wasn't enough for us to just take these stories in, we wanted to start sharing some of the stories of our own. But a lot of those stories are inspired by the ones that we grew up on. And so one of the things that we want to talk about specifically today is our love of music. And Brittany, our sister, is a musician, a singer-songwriter, has recorded numerous albums. This you are working on, Brittany, album number 8 or 7?
Date, same time.
7 and 8 at the same time. So we want to talk with Brittany about some of her music, but specifically today, Brittany has released a new song, and the title of that song is Lightfoot. And the song is truly an homage and a tribute to one of our favorite singers, songwriters, minstrels, bards that we grew up with, Gordon Lightfoot. And he had a huge impact on my life, and I think partly because, as Brittany said, I think he was just on all the time in our house and just going through his songs and what they meant to us, and so we really want to build up to this song, Brittany, that you have wrote to kind of present this to the world, but also we want to take the chance to kind of share the story behind the song, the heart of where it came from, where Brittany wrote it from, but also how it has significance for us as an entire family. That being said, one of the things that we asked each of us coming into this show was to bring some memories or one or two of Gordon Lightfoot's songs that really have significance for us. And I think the best place to start, because if you look at the song that we're going to present at the end of this show, it's really the culmination of a few lifetimes of writing and music, but it kind of began with our mom and dad because obviously they discovered Gordon Lightfoot first and shared him with us. So I would like to start with mom and dad. And I am going to start with mama because mama should go first. And I know she is going to love me for that. But mama, I would like to know where you discovered Gordon Lightfoot. You may say that, you know what? I was always just wishing we could listen to anything else on the radio. And that's the
Exactly.
but give us a little bit of where you discovered him and some of the songs maybe that you do love of his, because I would be very curious to know.
Well, thank you for having us all today. And I want to tell a story that Daddy would probably tell, and I'm going to steal it from him.
Perfect. That's why you get to go first.
And that is when we got married, I don't think he realized that I had no background in country music, didn't know who Gordon Lightfoot was. Don't think I ever heard of him until after I got married. And he will always tell people, well, my wife went to Moody Bible Institute and all she knew was church music. And now look at her. She's listening to country music and Gordon Lightfoot. So I'm stealing that story from him. But yeah, I came to appreciate and like the music, and was listening to some of Gordon Lightfoot's music this morning, and I thought, oh, there's more than two here that I like.
Right on. Can you narrow
So,
it down? Well, go ahead and share them all with us.
share them all. Well, the one I had at the top of my list was "Too Late for Praying." That's one I didn't write down the lyrics for, so you'll have to sing it for us, Brittany. And then as I was listening to them, one that I really like is "Song for a Winter's Night." Brittany does sing that one too. I love the storytelling. I came to really love how Gordon Lightfoot tells stories, and yeah, that's what I appreciate. And then the music's pretty good too.
It was great that you mentioned that because that's one of the things that I don't know if they write. There's not many artists that write stories the way Gordon Lightfoot did. And it's funny because I saw Too Late for Praying on two lists. Then I went back and that was one of the songs that I listened to this morning. And I recognized the melody and I remember the song. But what a beautiful song. What stood out to you, Mom? Like what is it about that song that you love the most?
Well, Daddy has the words, so I can review it. Living in the glory of your care. I don't know who he's thinking about, but I'm thinking about the Lord. Lord, abide, let us stem the tide of broken dreams. Sometimes you seem to tell us it's too late for praying. And of course, as a follower of Christ, it's never too late for praying. But it's a very beautiful melody, brings out the meaning of these words. In the last verses, nothing here but grains of sand, nothing much worth saving. Guess we've all got problems of our own to bear, and still we share. Tomorrow could get better than today. I feel like that's kind of the story of my life. Just I tend to get blue a little easily, and when I hear songs like this, it just kind of uplifts me and say, okay, why so downcast, oh my soul? No, and it's never too late for praying. Anyway, I get all my I put all my own meanings into his words that he probably never wanted in there, but maybe he did. Who knows? Anyway, so
But I do, and I could, I just listened to it this morning, so I'd have to read through the lyrics. But when I was listening to it this morning, I did get the sense that that's kind of what he was saying was that it is never too late for it. There's always hope, and that's kind of what I came away with thinking.
and I like the last line says, sometimes just seem to tell us it's too late for praying. And that's where it ends, but it's like we can say, no, it's not too late for praying ever.
Yeah,
So
sure.
anyway, I like that song. That's probably at the top of my list. And then Song for a Winter's Night I like a lot because I just like the feel of a winter's night, Christmas, just the feeling of that, just being in a little cabin, fires going, and having the one he loves near, just to have you near. And I think of my family for that. So yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm gonna have to switch my list up because that was on my list.
Uh-oh. I
That's
didn't
good. 'Cause
didn't
I had
check.
I had 11 others, so it's all good.
Well, yeah, Gordon, that's the problem with Gordon Lightfoot. There's just not enough songs from which to choose.
Right,
a favorite.
right. Just because we'll share it in the presentation, but you can't see it. That was our list from which to
That's
choose.
a lot of songs.
It's a lot of songs, and it's interesting. I don't even know if I've
252.
252 songs.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
turn this over to Dan.
yeah, yeah. That's beautiful. Well, I don't know if you took both of Dad's songs, but Dad, how about you? Where did you discover Gordon Lightfoot? And I'll let you share this, but you did share something in an email today that I thought was humorous. And in case you don't, one of the things that we do know about Dad is he likes the things he likes, and he sticks to the things he likes. If we go to a restaurant, if we go to the Sandpiper or any breakfast restaurant, we know that it's 3 eggs over easy with hash browns and toast buttered in the kitchen. So I think it's great that you found an artist that you like that you could play songs over and over again who does have such a large collection to choose from. But where did you discover Gordon Lightfoot? And then maybe share some of the things that you love about his.
Oh, I discovered Gordon Lightfoot in college. When I was in high school, that's probably when I really started listening to music. And John Denver was everywhere on the radio and TV, and I love John Denver music. But Gordon Lightfoot in college, when he was young, he had the most beautiful baritone sound, and it was very different from John Denver. So it was just a nice contrast. Um, I did want to add to Mommy's story that she was talking about when she became a country music fan, and she didn't really tell you the true story. We were in Nashville the very first time. Brittany was recording 3 songs, and one of the musicians, the electric guitar player, his name is Jeff King, and Jeff is one of those charismatic people that just draws people to you. Anyway, after I think it was Goodbye. Brittany had recorded Goodbye, and Jeff comes back and he tells John Nicholson, the owner of the studio and the engineer, he said, "John, I think you got something here." And then he comes over and he sits down, right, like, pretend I'm Jeff and this is Mommy, right, sitting right next to me. Only Jeff is like this close and he's talking to Mommy, and Jeff is good-looking man and just very electric. So on our drive home from Nashville that night, I told Brittany, I said, "Brittany, you have done something in 5 minutes that I haven't been able to do in 25 years." And she goes, "What's that?" I said, "You turned Mommy into a country music fan." So, and I don't think Brittany or I had anything to do with it.
Thanks, Jeff.
I have no recollection.
And what I just shared with you is absolutely true. So, anyway, I'm going to give you my 2 favorite Gordon Lightfoot songs.
Yeah, let's have them.
The first one is Early Morning Rain, The Pony Man, Shadows, Bitter Green, and Too Late for Praying.
That's number 1 on the list. Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Grant held up a sheet a little bit ago that showed the 252 Gordon Lightfoot songs that I'm aware of. Right, there you go.
The ones in red being the ones that you have selected as your favorites.
Right, that's
Which is
so
the
I
top of
selected
252 that you have
I
listed.
selected 106 that I'm either aware of or that I love. And then from there, I made a list of my 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, and then my favorite of all time, which is, I didn't know this, but Brittany and Mommy share my opinion with Too Late for Praying. I would think if I had to pick my next favorite, it would probably be the Pony Man. Because I just love the storyline of it. So many times I have told Brittany when we've been driving, I said, "You know what? I don't know a thing about Gordon Lightfoot, what he believes in or anything, because that was never my interest. It was just his music." I said, "But anybody who can put together a song like The Pony Man has to be all right." And I sang that song to you kids all the time when I was trying to get you guys to go to sleep. So yeah, Pony Man. And if you were to ask me, well, what is it that you like about Gordon Lightfoot's music or about his lyrics? I really don't know. All I know is that I really like it. And it just seems to hit beautiful imagery. I think his lyrics are unbelievable. And his melodies are a lot like Britney's. They're just beautiful. They're melodic.
Mhm.
And that's why I just listen to them over and over again. So that's all I got.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And I agree. I think, don't you think, I guess, don't you guys all think that it would be hard to, kind of like John Denver, even classify Gordon Lightfoot's music? He's almost a genre in himself, I think. Obviously, you can find similar sounding music, but yeah, I think he kind of stands in his own class. Janelle,
Yeah.
it's up to you next. share with us your introduction to Gordon Lightfoot. Because of us, you would have been the first to be introduced, along with the Care Bear music and
Yep.
a lot of the other kinds of songs that we would dance to as we all did dishes and Evan disappeared for hours. The sewer,
He
he
was
was
like,
too
I'm
early.
rinsing.
It's too early. I'm trying to hold myself back. Evan, you're coming. You're up next.
I was trying to explain to my kids how their Uncle Evan would always take the rinsing job, and they were like, "Wait, that's a thing? We could do that?"
Evan, you have always been the smartest of any of us.
For sure, for sure.
It's an important job.
It is. It is an important job.
Underappreciated too, I would guess.
Nobody wants to eat off of soapy dishes.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Janelle, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Gordon Lightfoot was always kind of just a staple growing up, and I always liked his music. I always enjoyed the lyrics. I'm sure that my introduction to Gordon Lightfoot was probably either The Pony Man or The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Most people who have any kind of passing familiarity with Gordon Lightfoot, they know The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. That may be the only song they know. But yeah, we had so many albums. I mean, records. We had Gordon Lightfoot records and then tapes and then CDs. So yeah, that was I never didn't know Gordon Lightfoot. Like I can actually remember my introduction to John Denver because I believe that dad got mom a John Denver record one year for her birthday. And that was kind of the introduction for all of us to John Denver. And I remember him being like, "You used to really like this singer." And then she opened it and she laughed. And none of and anyway, that's a very maybe I made that up. I don't know. But Gordon Lightfoot, I don't remember not knowing who he was. So yeah, that was just always kind of a childhood memory of mine. When it comes to my top 2, I was kinda waffling back and forth. Dad has said both of my number 2 songs, so my we'll get there, but probably my favorite Gordon Lightfoot song, and maybe it hasn't always been my favorite Gordon Lightfoot song, but in high school, it kinda became my favorite and has become more dear to me, with every passing year because I have so many memories surrounding it, is "The Minstrel of the Dawn." And I feel like that one's maybe a little bit less well known of his songs, but it's this song that talks about how this minstrel comes and he's going to spin these stories and he's going to, play his instrument and he's going to just enchant everybody with the tales that he spins. And in college, when I started writing, that was the inspiration behind Kieran and Kane, who was one of the main characters in the book series that I was writing. So I wrote a minstrel very much based on Gordon Lightfoot's Minstrel of the Dawn, and just love that idea of a storyteller and the importance that a storyteller is to people, how much we need stories and we need that escape, but also the courage and the nobility and the things that stories hopefully instill in us, good stories, instill in us as we go back to reality. So that's my number 1. Pony Man was kind of vying for number 2 there, but, since we've already talked about that one, my other one that I had chosen was Bitter Green, which is a song about a young woman who is waiting for her lost love to return. He went away to sea and hasn't been seen, and everybody says that he died or he was imprisoned or he was never going to come back in the first place, but she just faithfully waits and waits and waits. And then the song ends with she has died and he finally returns, and he was faithful. He just couldn't get back before it was too late. And it's very achingly bittersweet song, but it's also a beautiful song about faithfulness. And I always loved that. And the main character, Bittergreen, is what everybody calls her, and just that there is this bitterness in her life but it's not reflected in her personality or her character. And so she's just everybody knows her and this sadness that's there, but when they interact with her, it talks about how she is just loving everyone that she meets. And I don't know, I also always kind of associated this character with my grandma Walker. Not that she had this lost love or anything, because my grandpa Walker was always there for her, but just that idea of somebody with that sunshiny personality that draws people in and just loves everybody that she meets. Everybody's an instant friend. And so I think to me, that was a reflection of who she was. And so it's made that song very dear to me. My favorite, I actually got to see Gordon Lightfoot in concert before he passed away. So he came to sing in Eau Claire, I believe it was 2021. And a friend of mine who is a little bit older than me, she had posted that she was going to go see Gordon Lightfoot, and did anybody want to go with her? And I was like, me. And so she was like, "Oh, great. I've got an extra ticket." Or I think I think she just wanted someone to go with her. So we each bought tickets, and then she talked to Derek later that week, and she was like, "Kinda, does Janelle really want to go see Gordon Lightfoot?" And Derek was like, "Yeah, of course she wants to go. She said she wanted to go." And she goes, "Yeah, but is she really a fan?" And uh, so Derek's telling me this later. He's like, "I think you need to go talk to her and explain, like, that you're a huge Gordon Lightfoot fan." And so, she's like, "Well, yeah, but are you a fan, or is it just your parents were fans?" And anyway, I was like, "No, no, no, I am a fan. I love Gordon Lightfoot. I'm very excited to go see him. He's one of the few singers I really care to see in person." And so we go to his concert, only for me to discover that she has only really heard like 2 or 3 Gordon Lightfoot songs. And I just thought it was very funny that she was questioning my fanness, and it was anyway, but it was really fun, and he could still sing, so
I'm just green with jealous rage. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Going through my head is, if you know Bluey, and they have an episode where their dad is always telling them, "It was the '80s." Well, I'm sitting here thinking, I was looking at the dates of his songs, released in '70 and '76 and so on, and I'm sitting here thinking, "It was the '70s."
Yes,
Yep.
it was.
Janelle, didn't you dedicate A King's Warrior to the minstrel?
I believe I dedicated Minstrel's Call
Okay, minstrel's call.
to
And
Gordon
that's
Lightfoot.
Gordon Lightfoot.
Yeah,
The minstrel is Gordon Lightfoot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
yeah,
More or less.
more or less, yes.
Vacation.
Yeah, I dedicated the book to Gordon Lightfoot.
Correct.
Yep.
But did you dedicate the book to Gordon Lightfoot?
Yes, it says to Gordon Lightfoot. I have a copy here somewhere.
Are you sure?
No one believes you.
Nobody believes me.
Well, I do think, and it's
What did I write?
what did who am I? So that is, I would say that's probably the first instance where this singer-songwriter inspired something that then poured out of you, Janelle, that you wanted to go and create using that as part of the inspiration for that story. Evan, I'm gonna have you and Brittany go last for a specific reason, but
Cool.
the reason is different for Evan as it is Brittany. No, I'm kidding. But same as you, Janelle, I can't remember a time where I didn't know who Gordon Lightfoot was, and I was thinking of my favorite songs, and "The Wreck of the Edmunds Fitzgerald" was that was a pivotal song in my life. I went through a period of time where I was just totally enamored with shipwrecks, specifically the Titanic, and I read the book about the Edmund Fitzgerald, and I don't know what it was, but we would even build boats and take them to the pond across the street and sink them, because that's just how interested I was in ships sinking. Just littered. I think the statute of limitations is passed, but just littered the snot out of that pond with our fabricated ships. But I digress. We could cut that part out. But there was a number of other songs. I love the song "The Ghosts of Cape Horn." I think Evan was probably annoyed because I think every day of high school I woke up to the song, either "The Ghosts of Cape Horn" or "Triangle." That was the song that came on when we woke up in the morning. Evan was usually downstairs and ready to go, so he may not have heard that. But if I had to choose 2 songs that really stand out. I remember I got the cassette of Gordon Lightfoot's, and I think the title of the album was Summertime Dream, or that was at least the title of the cassette that I got, a little cassette tape. And I immediately loved that song, Summertime Dream. To me, it was just, it felt like, man, that's what, like the perfect summer, or almost even what heaven would feel like. So that would be my second favorite of his. And my absolute favorite song of Gordon Lightfoot's is Christian Island. And again, I love that song. I love the feel of that song. To me, it's again, that's a picture of what, if I designed heaven, what it would look like. You know, a guy who's got a ship and a schooner and can sail around, and no matter what the storms come, he can just rest in the lee of Christian Island. And it's holds special significance for me because that's one of the few songs that I can remember all the words to. So that is one of the two songs that I sing to my children every night since when they were young. That and El Paso by Marty Robbins, which is just great when your kids start singing those two songs. Yeah, I've got my one son who's singing Christian Island, talking about filling his cup up with whiskey. Yes. And the other one who's getting in duels and fights to the death in El Paso. But those two in particular, I love Don Quixote. I love Quixote, that song. But if I had to pick two, it would be Christian Island and Summertime. Now, I do want to move to Evan next. And Evan, one of the reasons I wanted you to go last is because at the end, I do want you to share, because you put together a beautiful visual presentation for this video that we want to share at the end. And so I would love to hear a little bit of, I know, we took some direction from Brittany and Dad in terms of what they were looking for, but what you created just so far surpassed anything Dad could come up with. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So I want to hear just a little bit about how you put that together and the significance of that. Go ahead and share your feelings about Gordon.
Okay. Um,
When I point at you, I want you to talk.
is it my turn?
Yes.
My turn now?
I'm not going to tell
Okay.
you if you're muted or not, but go ahead and say what you want to say.
Okay, sounds good. So I was telling Brittany about this after I put the video together, just the text portion of it, and I wrote an email about why her song meant a lot to me, but also why Gordon Lightfoot's music means a lot to me. Because compared to the other types of music that I listen to typically on any given Wednesday, it's usually not Gordon Lightfoot. But whenever I hear his music or whenever I turn it on, it literally transports me back to like 7 years old in our living room, dancing around the house with the whole family and jumping on Dad's back, and no idea why he's had back issues in his life, but I am certain that I had nothing to do with it.
I just would like to say, I do believe you were the only one, not really, you were the only one kneeing him in the back. Hey, time out. I do want to
Yeah.
tell this story, Evan, because this is a good story. We used to play this great game that we loved. It was called the Bridge Game. I love Brittany and Janelle remember this game. But the purpose of the game was Dad, I think, was taking naps, but he would be on his hands and knees with his eyes closed, and you would try to sneak under the bridge without him knowing you were going under it. Otherwise, he would crush you, right?
A great game. Great game.
It was a great game.
So good.
And me and Janelle and Brittany were so sneaky. I think we genuinely could get by unnoticed, but Evan had a different strategy, because Evan's strategy, being about 2.5 feet tall, just solid rock of a 5-year-old, would be to get a head of steam, go fully charged, put his head down like a pachycephalosaurus, and drill Dad right in the ribs to take the bridge out, and then pass by at his leisure.
I mean, pretty smart. Pretty smart.
Talk about thinking outside the box.
Yeah, I did.
I think that's called game over.
Though I have not taught that game to my children. very intentionally.
I've seen some videos of them being pretty mean to you.
Well, yes. Yes.
All in good fun.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Continue.
My second favorite Gordon Lightfoot song of all time is also Summertime Dream. So thanks for stealing that one.
I went first for a reason.
Cool. It's cool. And you will notice a theme about the songs that I select, and that is I have no idea what either of them are about. But Summertime Dream, the reason I love that song is because we used to wake up in the morning every single day to that song because we had these awesome CD players that I think we got for Christmas, maybe.
Yes.
And so I think I had two CDs, and one was John Denver and one was Gordon Lightfoot. And so I put the Gordon Lightfoot CD in the CD player, and it had an awesome alarm feature. So you could turn it on, but you could only play the first song. So every morning, that's what we woke up to. So whenever I hear that song, that's where my brain goes. Again, I have no idea what that song is about. And I too sang that song to my children when they were very little, except that I only tried to sing it once because I realized very quickly that I knew 3 words to the song. So yes, probably says more about me.
I like that you started to sing it because it's not like, I think I know this.
Yeah, I went for it, and then I realized I don't know the words to the song.
Might not be your fault though.
It's not.
Like as much as I love Gordon Lightfoot and I love his lyrics and I love his melodies, it is a very like characteristic of his songs that you cannot understand the lyrics as you listen to most of his music.
Yes, that is
You guys know, I guess today I was listening to, which is the song that's like, anyways,
Oh yeah, that one.
I thought those were words until I was watching a lyric video today and realized, oh, I won't even tell you what I thought he was saying.
Well, what's funny is, so I tried to sing Summertime Dream to my children, which failed. And that song's not very long, so that tells you a lot about me. Um, the second song I was like, oh, I can sing this to them, was also Pony Man, because that's a great song. Dad sang it to us when we were kids. I was like, cool. So I started on that one and also realized I know 4 words to this song. So then I looked it up, and I'm literally holding Reagan, my barely 1-year-old at the time. I'm holding Reagan in one arm. I have my phone in the other hand, and I am reading the lyrics and singing them. And I literally read the lyrics like 100 times because I thought I'm going to memorize this song. So now I know the chorus of that song.
That song doesn't have a chorus.
Exactly. Okay, song number 1, all-time favorite song of all time from Gordon Lightfoot for me, also has nothing to do with the song.
I'm so excited about this one.
Yeah. Okay, so Grant, myself, and Dad are going to a baseball game, and I think this was either in high school or shortly after high school. We may have been in college at the time. I don't remember. I just remember where we were. We were going to a baseball game, but first we had to stop to get Gatorades because that was non-negotiable. Have to bring Gatorades to the game. So we stop at the Jewel store. Dad runs in. Or no, hold on, back up, because the whole point of the story happens before this. So we're going to the store, and Dad is not happy. We are late. We are running behind, and tensions are high. And so
Hot out. It's hot. It's
yeah,
July.
it's hot. Gatorades have not been acquired yet, which is a problem. And we are en route and we're late. So Grant and I are just kind of being quiet. At least that's how I remember it.
That was the best. That was the best strategy in those situations.
I'm sure we were being perfect. No problems from us. I'm sure of it. And so Dad gets out of the car and he's gonna run into Jewel and he slams the door. And Grant and I just kind of sit there. We're like, oh, this is not gonna be a happy trip to the baseball field. So we're just sitting there and the car's off. And Dan comes back. Gatorades are now in the truck. And he opens the door, turns on the car, closes the door. And what turns on? Full volume, but Gordon Lightfoot, Ribbon of Darkness over me. And Grant and I just bust out laughing. And yeah, and I will never think of that song any other way. So anytime I hear that song come on, again, I am transported right back there. So those are my
Yeah.
two songs.
I left that song off my list because I was hoping that you were going to tell that story.
I think the song should have been Too Late for Praying.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure any song could have come on in that moment and it would have had the same effect. But
That was a fun summer. I think we were playing for the Chicago Titans, and one of my favorite memories, which doesn't have anything to do with Gordon Lightfoot, but it does have something to do with music and our family's music choices. We were playing in inner city Chicago, Evan, you remember? And so the 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 music of choice that would be playing over the PA system as we were warming up would be very distinctly just hip hop, rap music, and I'm sure there's hip hop and rap music that's perfectly lovely, but this was not that. This was very, very profane and rather vulgar, very obviously so, and it was very loud. And our dad had had enough because he can't stand for injustice or wrong. So he brought his own CD to go. And so he went up and he put in a wonderful CD, another one of our favorite musicians growing up, which was Alabama's. Alabama was the name of the band, is the name of the band. And so he put that in. And there's some of my favorite songs are on that, Dixieland Delight and Song of the South, and just so many songs that we loved. But that's not the first song that's on that album. The first song, I'll just put it to you this way. It is a love song that more or less talks about a lot of the same stuff that those rap songs were talking about. And it's very slow. And you got to imagine we're out there playing catch warming up, and that song comes on. And our teammates were as disgusted by that song as Dad was by their rap music. It might have been the same day. I don't know.
There's a big difference between Alabama and Gordon Lightfoot, and that is when Alabama sings, you very clearly hear every word that they say. So there was no confusion what was being sung about.
That's true. That's true.
May I interject something here?
Yeah.
Yes.
With Summertime Dream. I also love that song. I'm sure it's in my top 25 Gordon Lightfoot song. And I have talked with Brittany about this because I think you have performed this song several times. And my favorite line in Summertime Dream, because I just love the humor of it, it goes, so if you come around when the mill shuts down, you can see what chivalry means. Let's steal away in the noonday sun. Anyway, I just love the fact that that is the suitable definition of chivalry, which I think is a little bit different than most people's understanding. But I like it.
I do too. I do too. I don't think I understood that when I was 11.
No.
For sure. Evan, I want to continue because I love those stories. But talk a little bit about an intro into I want to talk specifically with Brittany about her favorite songs because this song that we are going to present is again, it's kind of the culmination of really all of the work that Gordon Lightfoot did to present his heart to his audience. The heart that was shared when mom and dad discovered him and then that music playing in our homes to this song that Brittany you have written and produced. Evan, tell us a little bit about the visual presentation for this song that you put together, how that process went, and kind of a little bit of the heart behind that.
Sure. I would love to be able to take credit for it, but I can't because Dad had asked me to put this together probably like 7 years ago, and I just got around to it like a week ago. Uh, no, he asked a long time ago, and it just never happened. Anyway, so he put something together, I think on like a PowerPoint presentation or keynote or something like that, where it basically laid out exactly how he wanted it to look with the words appearing on the screen. And I was honestly, I was blown away because it was like a full designed PowerPoint presentation where the words would come in as they were timed to the song and it was really well done. And I was like, wow, this makes it very clear what you're going for. And I don't think I have ever received that detailed instruction before for any project. so so I was very impressed. And then just in order to put it into a video format, I took that and edited it together. And I think that the only thing that I really changed was I put in some background imagery that was very, very opaque, very hard to distract from the words because I wanted that to be the primary focus. But anyway, no, I can't really take credit for it because Dad designed it. He put the whole concept together and then gave it to me and said, do what you can with it. And that's where we are now.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It is a beautiful presentation. We're very excited to share that. And I remember being very impressed with that initial concept because, yeah, I'd heard kind of the concept before and was really, yeah, it was cool to see how it all came together. Brittany, we come to you and kind of want to give you the floor. You can share with us your two favorite songs, but also just share where your love for his music came from and how it progressed from being this love of his music to inspiring some of your songs that you've written in the past to this specific song.
Well, first of all, I concur with all of you that just growing up in our house, how could we not become Gordon Lightfoot fans? Because it was playing all the time, his music, his records, and just I've always thought of Gordon Lightfoot's music as just a backdrop of growing up. And since I still listen to his music, it's still a backdrop. In high school, I started to really listen. I was trying to distinguish those words that were hard to distinguish sometimes. And so looking at his words, like you have his words right in front of you, and seeing the beauty, he had such a gift for writing. And I'm always drawn to his more melancholy songs. So, Song for Winter's Night, Bitter Green, Rainy Day People, and Early Morning Rain. I think it would be impossible to talk about Gordon Lightfoot without bringing up the Canadian Railroad trilogy. I was reading about it a little bit, trying to remind myself of the story of where that came from. And the way that I would word it is that Canada commissioned him to write a song to celebrate the centennial celebration of Canada. And so he did. He took that job and he read about the railroads and how that came to be. And 3 days later, he had the Canadian Railroad trilogy, which, as a songwriter, that's a little bit upsetting, actually. Uh, it's not fair. Song for Winter's Night is another one of those where it came together very quickly, and I don't I take umbrage with that fact that I think it was a little easier for him at times Ah, so yeah, I think he was brilliant. And as far as favorite songs go, I think his most beautiful song is Shadows. It's just lovely all the way through, musically, lyrically. So a few years ago, I don't remember, must have been 2020, I was talking to dad about some ideas. Other things were going on in 2020, but I was thinking about the songs coming ahead and what I wanted to write about. And I told dad about a song I'd like to write to honor Lightfoot, to honor Gordon Lightfoot. And the next day, there were some lyrics that were tucked under my door. And my first thought was, I was going to write that song. And so it took me a little while to get over that fact. And I think by about draft 40, I took a closer look and thought, yeah, let's write this song. And so that is kind of a little known fact, but I think you're okay with me sharing it, that dad wrote this song with me. And if you think that a line or a phrase is beautiful in Lightfoot, chances are dad wrote that. Um, I think I think you're the one who captured the most in your lines. And so it was really a wonderful experience once I got over that initial, hey, just
Telling the story.
yeah, but just wonderful to write with you, to write with the person who is the main reason why I'm a fan. So anyway,
Yeah. What so what kind of time if you started writing that song in 2020, you said?
yeah.
Then how long did it take before you actually had it all written?
I don't
In August of it was August of 2020, the pandemic year, and that was the year when Britney's whole performance season was shut down in April of that year. And so she decided she was going to focus on what she could do. So she was going to write songs, and that's what brought about the Wintertide album and Colors and Covers album, of which Lightfoot is a part of. I would like to comment on two things because Evan, with the video work, he's right that I did provide him with direction. But my direction, my computer work was setting things on a table, taking a movie of it with things taped together onto the table, and I sent that video to Evan. And Evan gets paid the big money because he knows which button to push and he is able to do magic on the computer with his graphic design work, his video work. And in the same way with the lyrics, if you take a look at what I slid under Brittany's door, which was Lightfoot version 1, and then where we ended up with Lightfoot version 65, it's sometimes a little bit embarrassing to me to see what I gave to Brittany and then what she gives back to me. So I'm very good at ideas, but I'm not very good at poetry because my poetry is a little bit like, in fact, it's a lot like Dr. Seuss, and that's my rhyme pattern. And if you understand Brittany's music, that is not her rhyme pattern. So I'm glad to have initiated, but Evan and Brittany and Grant, you yourself, you ran with it and created this beautiful video, which is way nicer than what I had even hoped for. And to quote Han Solo, I can hope for quite a bit. So
So, Brittany, I want to present this video to our audience, to Gordon Lightfoot's fans, to Gordon Lightfoot, who obviously you were able to present this song to him, but I do think it's a beautiful way to help his music live on, and for maybe new people who haven't discovered Gordon Lightfoot to discover him. I always thought in college it was really fun when I started discovering artists. I remember discovering one artist who I was like, I went to my roommate and be like, man, this guy's amazing. He's like, yeah, he's from 1980s. Like, he's not new, but he was new to me. So if you aren't aware of Gordon Lightfoot, you have 252 new songs for a new artist. So, Brittany, I want to give you the chance to introduce this video. Anything you might want to say, I know it speaks for itself, but maybe just give us a look into what we're going to be watching and listening to, and you can introduce it for us.
The song was recorded in March of 23.
April
April
27th.
23. April 27th of 23.
Okay.
And when we got home after that recording trip, I found out that Gordon Lightfoot had died on May 1st. You remember the dates. I'm very impressed. And when we were working on this song, I had this hope to send it to him, because it was truly, the way I looked at it was a thank you for all of his work. And so I was very sad about the fact that I could never send it to him. I couldn't give it to him. And now, a couple years later, it is so wonderful at performances before I sing this song or any of Gordon Lightfoot's songs. I do ask, are there any Gordon Lightfoot fans in the audience? And seeing people's hands go up and like, oh, that's me. And now that song is for them. It's definitely for them. It's an instant. We have this library in common and this appreciation in common. And so whenever this video is, or this song is shared, that's what I think of, is it's for all of us fans. And yeah, that's what I'd say.
So here is Brittany's Lightfoot.
The minstrel came to call almost every single night, from the corner of the room in the candlelight. He told stories like a needle and a thread, spinning golden pictures in my head, capturing the iron road and those who tied the steel in colors deep beneath a time no longer real. Over prairie and the muskeg, the unknown distant trail of Fairland's memories, all rendered on the rail, waiting to sail. Aboard his smiling silver heels, a summer breeze to feel high seas along her keel, setting course the world one time for a place to lay my head, and sense the peace of an ocean bottom bed. Have you shared the danger in the rounding of the horn to reach the quiet comfort of her floor? With a warming wind and a turning of the tide, will you join the children in their midnight ride? The troubadour has claimed you, and once again you'll find I will climb blue rocky mountains, her shadowed moon abeam, and wander through the changes that lead to summer dreams, hoping to find that old winding river mill and rolling hills of bitter green that linger still. Then across the rippling sea to the midnight meadowland, to listen oh so closely once again. Have you shared the danger in the rounding of the horn to reach the quiet comfort of her floor? With a warming wind and a turning of the tide, will you join the children in their midnight ride? The troubadour has claimed you, and once again you'll find prairie lights and the stealing stars are sailing through your mind. The minstrel came to call almost every single night from the corner of the room in the candlelight. He told stories like a needle and a thread, spinning golden pictures in my head.
Brittany, that was beautiful. Thank you for so capturing the heart of his music and for just the beauty that your music has on its own. And there are so many singer-songwriters that you are inspired by, but your music has a place all of its own. And I do think that your music, like Gordon's, is in a class all by itself, especially in our day. This, I want to say, has been really fun. What you guys are seeing on your screen is the original dream that was Stormcave when Evan and Jenelle and Brittany and I met up in a little bonus room in our house back on Pearl Road,
2010.
2010, and we pitched this idea of taking our love for stories into the world, into our own creation. Jenelle had written a number of books already by then, and Brittany was starting to record music. And we thought, man, this would just be a fun way to share our love for stories. And we always talked about this idea of this roundtable discussion, talking about the stories that we love. And this is truly, you can see some of the books and CDs, just a number of them. We've got Brittany and Janelle, you have quite a few. And it's such a family endeavor. You know, mom and dad have inspired us. They have been our fans. Mama has been one of our chief editors who, even with this podcast, constantly have asked her, hey, watch this 3-hour episode and give us feedback. And she does. And it's amazing. And dad has inspired so many of the things that we do and see. And our love for stories has come from them. And it has been really fun to see how Janelle has taken her love of stories into writing. And Evan has taken his love of stories into just design, and he's done film work, and he just has a beautiful eye. Some of the cover designs and the albums that Brittany has put out, and just I've always been a little envious of the fact that Evan's talents just kind of just go across a number of fields. One of the people in life who is just very good at anything he puts his mind to, and if he's interested in it, he usually conquers it. And then Brittany, you taking your love for stories and turning it into just beautiful music. And I like to play my part. I've always just said I just want to be. And we watched a few years ago I think it was the 25th anniversary of the Les Miserables production. And I remember watching it and just being like, I want to be a part of that kind of storytelling where even the guy who just pulls the curtain back knows that this is awesome and I'm a part of it. And that's what this dream is. And so you're looking at the origination of Stormcave, but Stormcave is much bigger now. Evan has a family, Janelle has a family, I have a family, and we are growing. And now we have you guys, the fans. Brittany, everywhere you go, you make new fans. And it's beautiful to see this Stormcave family growing. And so that's what I want to leave you with, is just this idea that this song that Brittany presented. It's obviously a tribute and an homage to Gordon Lightfoot, one of our favorite singer-songwriters, but it's also her way of taking what Gordon Lightfoot gave to us and giving it to all of you. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Janelle, go ahead and close us out. And if anybody else has anything else they want to add, feel free. Go ahead.
This is a brand new story that actually relates to today's theme. Next Monday night, Brittany Jean is going to be on Michael Jonathan's Woodsong program, which is a television, radio, live broadcast. It actually goes to the entire Armed Services Network. So it's great. And they had told Brittany and all the other artists that are going to be performing that the song lengths are supposed to be 3.5 minutes or very close to 3.5 minutes. And that's a little tough because most songs are in the 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Most of my songs are a little too long.
So trying to help Brittany finalize her songs, she's going to have 5 songs to sing. I sent him, the contact person, Gavin, the new Lightfoot video. And I said, hey, Gavin, Brittany would really love to present this song on the Wood Songs program, but it runs 4 minutes long. Would that be okay? And he's very good about getting right back to us. And he wrote back, nah, we really need to stay in the 3 minutes and 30-second range. So that's what I read. And then immediately, a couple of minutes later, I get another note, and it's from Gavin, and he says, oops, I spoke too soon. I just showed the video to Michael Jonathan, and he loves it. He toured with Gordon Lightfoot, and he says he will make an exception for this song. So, anyways, just fun.
That's awesome. Well, thank you to our family so much for coming and joining us here and making this roundtable evening in the Storm Cave episode happen. This like Grant said, this was the dream way back in 2010. So, sometimes things happen quickly and sometimes it takes 15 years, but I'm so thrilled that you guys were all able to come and chat with us, and we were able to share our combined love of Gordon Lightfoot and his music. And I hope that we can have more episodes like this in the future, where I think it's just been so fun to chat with you guys, but also to introduce all of you to our small but faithful audience over on YouTube and the different podcast stations that we're on. And to you, dear watcher and listener, we are just so thankful to be able to introduce our family to you. We hope that this was entertaining and fun, and that you were able to laugh with us and cry with us in this episode. And we just are so grateful that you all come in out of the storm and join us in our little storm cave. And we will see you next time.